We were ready to proceed today at 9 o'clock with a jury trial. We did well on our omnibus hearings. The investigation of the case went well. The case came together nicely with the district attorney's assistance, and there was very little wiggle room for him at this point in time. When I started the investigation of this case, the ruling of homicide came from the Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office early on. So the case was a homicide. The difficulty for me, and the biggest reason it took 8 years to prosecute, is to prove beyond a reasonable doubt then who committed this homicide. We had two primary caregivers for Jessica on the day that this happened, which included McKinley Warren Jr. and his wife. They were married on that day, Cindy Warren. From the very beginning, it was difficult to prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt which one in particular did it. I had information and beliefs that it was McKinley from the beginning. With the district attorney behind me, I was not satisfied with filing any other charge but a homicide charge with this. After 8 years, it did cross my mind that maybe I hadn't made the right decision and might never have been able to charge McKinley with murder, but circumstances changed, the volatility of the relationship, and then unfortunately the abuse of another child in his care. You don't know what that man's like until you talk to him and listen to how he talked of his children. There was a vileness in his voice and demeanor that you would be like you're talking about your enemy and why you want to hurt somebody. And how one can talk about their own children like that is unfathomable.
The guilty plea process really didn't take a tangible form until well after the jury was selected. The jury was selected on the 3rd with a pre-scheduled trial date for the 8th. And it wasn't really until, I would say, yesterday late afternoon that there was some discussion generated from the defense that they were interested in pursuing a plea. Now, I'm not sure exactly what motivated the defendant in the end to take a plea of guilty to these crimes. Our motivation had to do with protecting other children. In other words, get a period of time for this guy that would ensure that nobody else would come in harm's way from him, particularly children. So we took into account his age, which is 43, the time credit he had, the likelihood of conviction of the most serious crime charge, first-degree murder, and what kind of sentencing would ensure that he's kept away from the public.